Greetings, fellow seekers of the unexplained, and welcome to the UFO Case Studies channel, your portal to the world of UFO encounters and enigmas. In this episode, we journey to the south of Brazil, to investigate the extraordinary case of man who claims he has been taken to a distant and unknown planet by aliens. On May 14, 1958, Arthur Belet, a resident of a small town located in the southern region of Brazil, was returning to his home from work when, at 7 p.m., while passing near a farm, he saw a strange light at the side of the road, about 200 meters away from him. Curious, he crossed the wire fence to see what it was, and upon approaching within 3 meters of the source, he realized that the brightness was emanating from a huge circular object, about 30 meters in diameter. Fearful, he thought about running away, but curiosity got the better of him and he took a few steps closer. Suddenly, some figures appeared and a strong beam of light hit him, causing him to lose consciousness. Upon regaining consciousness, he found himself tied to a bed-like structure resembling a hospital bed. Some human-like figures were moving around, seemingly unaware of his presence. They were tall, taller than the average height on Earth, with fair skin and straw-colored hair. I tried to communicate with them in various languages. Some looked at me indifferently, others didn't even look. Shortly after, Belet was untied by two individuals who lifted him and took him to another compartment of the craft, where they dressed him in a long cape. The beings led him through several rooms to an exit door. To his surprise, he realized that the craft was grounded on solid soil in a strange city. He said, "I had the impression that I had lost half of my weight and, at the same time, that my shoulders had increased in size." Supported by the two crew members, he stepped out of the disc and was taken on foot along a narrow street with tall buildings of various colors and intense luminosity, until they reached a large building, where they entered. There, he was fed with a kind of meat and bread. Afterwards, he was taken to another room where many people were gathered. These people tried to engage in conversation with him, but they couldn't understand each other. Belet, who was of German descent and lived in a region of Brazil filled with European immigrants, spoke to them in Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, and German. When he spoke in the latter language, one of the extraterrestrials stood up, showing great joy, and said, "Deutsch." After the meeting, this man, who only knew a few words in German, took him to another building. There, Belet was led into a room where several people were sitting around a rectangular table, conversing animatedly. "Upon noticing our presence, everyone fell silent and turned to me as if by enchantment," said Arthur. Then a tall, strong man stood up and spoke to him in proper German. "Take a seat." From then on, this individual, who identified himself as Acart, became his guide, taking him to visit that city and other cities on Acart, the name of that world, explaining everything he saw and asked about. Acart explained to him that his planet was currently 62 million kilometers away from Earth. Acart did not have natural satellites but had two gigantic space platforms orbiting around it. The climate was consistently cold. The means of transportation were aerial. The cities were similar to ours, but the streets were meant only for pedestrians. At night, the streets did not need lighting due to the glow of the building walls. For personal transportation, there were small vessels with a capacity of 2 to 10 passengers. These were like wingless planes propelled by solar engines. Made of very lightweight and super-resistant material, they could stop in mid-air and even fly inside a room. Vehicles for heavy cargo were also used for space travel. Acart also possessed technological devices that surprised him, such as a device for making video calls. According to Arthur, the inhabitants of Acart had a strong sense of humanity, were highly evolved, and kind. There was no circulating currency there. The planet Acart consisted of a single country, entirely inhabited. Its capital, the metropolis where he was located, had 90 million inhabitants. Everyone in the country worked for the collective good and enjoyed a very high standard of living. The governor was elected every 3 years by a council of 500 members. On the return journey, the abductees' trip was more pleasant. They entered the spacecraft, and Acart, who would accompany him back to Earth, gave him a pill. "Do I have to make the journey unconscious as I did on the way here?" "No, this time it won't be necessary. You can cover long stretches of the journey awake without any danger. Only in areas of magnetic turbulence, to withstand it better, you should sleep, when leaving Acart's magnetic field, while passing through the so-called neutral space, and when crossing Earth's magnetic barriers. The pill, which the crew members also took, was the only sustenance during the journey. The ship left him on land 5 kilometers from the place where he had been abducted. His friend bid him farewell affably as he exited the flying saucer. Arto walked with difficulty without looking back, following Acart's recommendation. Then, he stopped and looked back, hoping to see the spaceship take off, but there was only darkness. Everything had disappeared in those few moments. Still obeying the recommendations of the man from Acart, he walked the entire distance back to his residence on foot, slowly, taking 3 hours for a journey that normally took only 1 hour. Arto Belet's account was published in a book written by himself, which was edited in various countries around the world. In this book, the Brazilian recounts his abduction and his visit to the planet Acart. Interestingly, because the extraterrestrials from Acart are so similar to humans, Arto Belet initially didn't realize that he had been abducted and was on another planet. He only discovered this after the extraterrestrial named Acart revealed that he was on the planet Acart. We kindly leave here, for our dear viewer, the following questions. Are we alone in the universe? Do other dimensions of reality exist? And if so, are we alone in the multiverse? Could reality be like the contemplation of a vast ocean, in the sense that beneath a massive surface under which nothing seems to exist, a fascinating world of indescribable beauties is hidden in reality? So, could the collective curiosity about UFOs be an unconscious certainty we all carry, that behind the scenes of existence, there is another extraordinary reality? Thanks for your participation in this channel. Stay curious, stay adventurous, and until our next voyage into the enigmatic unknown, keep your eyes wide open and your mind ever questing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to join us on our journey through UFO mysteries.